What's going on, people? I hope you are well. In today's video, I want to talk about how I think that sometimes we as adults, if we're not careful, can get in the way of our children's learning, and in particular our children's thinking, when we insist that they do things in the way that we want them to do things, rather than in a way that makes sense to them and that works for them at their current level of understanding. And this relates to mathematics. I've been focusing massively on mathematics over the last 3-4 weeks or so. I did that video a couple of weeks ago about the importance of maths for black children. So in this video, I want to give you an example of what I'm talking about. Hopefully this will serve as an encouragement to you as parents and other adults to really think carefully about the way that we teach children. Are we just pouring our knowledge into their heads, or are we facilitating them getting the knowledge out of them and encouraging them and training them to find the solutions in ways that make sense to them, while augmenting that, of course, with knowledge and whatnots that we've got. So I'm going to do an example on the board and let's run through this. And it's going to focus on a basic subtraction problem. Here's a sum here: 531 take away 378. And this is, generally speaking, how I would lay out a problem like this. This is what I remember learning from school. So what you need to do, you need to make that number 1 bigger so you can take 8 from it. So the way that you do that, you go over to the next column and you want to take 1 away from the 3. So that's 3 take away 1 is 2. And that 1 that you've taken from the 3, you bring it over here and you add it to that 1 there. So that becomes 11. So now 11 take away 8, you can do that. 11 take away 8 leaves you with 3. Then you move over here and you've got this 2 left over here. 2 take away 7, can you do that? No, because 7 is bigger than 2. So what do you need to do? You need to go over to the next column here. And there's a 5 here. So you break that 5 there, you turn that 5 into a 4, and you take that 1 that you've taken from the 5 over and add it to the 2 here, and that becomes a 12. And so 12 take away 7 is 5. Yeah? And then finally, 4 take away 3, nice and simple. 4 take away 3 is 1. So the answer to the question, 531 take away 378 is 153. So this is what I was teaching my sons, and I was, I was drilling it, and I was like, yeah, they've got this. So I gave my eldest another problem. I said, okay, son, do this sum then. What about this? 326 take away 279. All right, boom. Do that then. I said, do that. Find the answer to that. What's the answer? And he stood there for a bit and he was like, 47. And I said, oh, okay, 47. Yeah, but where's all the carrying the 1 and breaking the 10 and all that? Like, what happened? And I said, how did you do it then? He was like, well, basically, 279. You want to get 279 to 300. So 279, 289, 299 plus 1. That's 21. Takes you up to 300. And then 21 plus 26 is 47. And it was a great moment because, for a moment I was thinking, oh no, you're not doing it the way I'm teaching you how to do the traditional algorithm where you break a 10, carry the 1, all that sort of stuff. But then it dawned on me that no, actually, this is beautiful because he's thinking for himself. He's finding the answer to the problem in the best way that suits him for this particular sum at that particular time. I thought that my job here was to teach my son the technique for doing it. And yes, they do need to know techniques, but actually what you really want to do is to get to the answer to the question. And sometimes you're not going to use the technique that you as an adult might think, oh yeah, he needs to know this technique. No, sometimes they just need to do whatever technique works for them. And this is something that I'm learning as I'm going along, is that one of the most important things is that children understand that there are different techniques, different ways of getting to a problem, to a solution to a problem, and their ways of doing it are perfectly valid as long as it gets them to the right answer. And just to add another thing as well, this whole business of, you can't take away the 1 from the 7, 7 from the 1, you can't do that. That's not actually true. And this is something I've only just learned in the last couple of weeks, that actually you can take away 7 from the 1. So first things first, the thing to understand is that these numbers represent values. It's not just 2, it's not just 9, it's not just 7, it's 200, it's 90, and it's 7. This is 320 and 1. So once you understand that, Then you do this. You say, okay, 1 take away 7, you can do... The reason why we say you can't take away 7 from 1 is that you end up with a minus number, and that's supposed to be bad. But actually, why not introduce children to minus numbers, negative numbers early on? 1 take away 7 is minus 6, right? Boom. Now we go over here. This number is not 2. It is 2, but it's 2 tens. This is a tens column. That's the ones column. And that's the hundreds column. So this is actually 20 take away 90. So 20 take away 90 is minus 70, right? Then you move over to the hundreds column. This is not just 3 ones take away 2 ones. It's 3 hundreds take away 2 hundreds. So 3 hundreds take away 2 hundreds is 100. And then you've just got the sum here you've got to do. 100 take away 70 is 30. And 30 take away 6 is 24. So the answer to this question is 24. 321 take away 297. The answer to that is 24. This might seem like a very small and inconsequential, not very important point, but my current thinking is that it could be that the way that children are taught at school, particularly something like maths, can have a really big bearing on their outcomes in maths. That's not necessarily to do with their ability. For example, if I'd have got angry with my son and said, no, actually, you've got to do it. Show me, carry the one, this, that, and the other. I am just forcing one particular algorithm onto him to solve the problem. And that could discourage him now from maths. Children need agency when it comes to learning, when it comes to anything, but they need agency when it comes to learning so that, and by agency, I mean, they need to have the freedom and the ability, and they need to be trusted to work out solutions to the problems in their way. Yes, they need to, particularly when you get into more complex numbers, they need to know that there are certain ways, certain techniques that you can do to come to problems. So, sometimes it's not going to be particularly possible to do that, find the difference version, to certain problems. Sometimes if you're writing stuff down, it's just easier to use one of the different algorithms, the -1 or the traditional algorithm. But the thought that I have in my mind is that I wonder, when we're talking about black children in particular in the UK, and I believe it's the same in the United States as well, when we're looking at the depressed maths outcomes for black children, maybe some of our children might be more focused on getting to the solution to the problem and not jumping through the particular hoops that have been set for them. Maybe some of our black Caribbean children, for example, are much more inclined to just be practical and get to the solution rather than let me follow what I've been told, this, that, and the other. Maybe, I don't know. I'm kind of, thinking out loud, but there's part of me that really thinks that if we can really start to be as expansive as we can with the way that we teach maths and teach maths in a way that is intuitive to children, earn their trust, get their agency, get them involved in the whole thinking process, I wonder if that might be a key to start to improve the overall math scores that black children in this country are achieving, and children full stop in this country are achieving, because white British children, who are the vast overwhelming majority of children in the school system here in the UK, which is sensible because it's Britain, it's a white British country, they're also not performing very well in maths. So maybe these are some of the things that we as parents and adults need to be thinking about. How to make sure that we can give their children the agency and the flexibility and the freedom to think for themselves, and how do we encourage that in a way that they can then build in it with the more knowledge that, yes, we will give them in order for them to deepen their understanding and move on to more complex matters. So that's just my thoughts. It's a different kind of video. Let me know what you think of this particular style of video if you enjoyed it. I'm learning so much when it comes to maths, but also just teaching children generally, and coaching them through their learning, so much that I'm desperate to share with with the world. So hopefully you like this kind of format. Of course, I've got plenty of other videos. There's a video on the maths, the achievement of black children in maths, which I mentioned, which you can click on here and watch. And also you can see a video here which YouTube will recommend as being kind of dovetailing with the topic of this video. Take good care of yourselves, and I will speak to you soon. Peace.